Hello, I'm Jim Littles, Academic Director for Purpose Institute. In this video, I'd like to give an overview of the Student Reflection Form for Field Experience. I'd like to say right up front to you students, thank you so much for accepting the call to serve in the field. Field experience is about moving from the classroom into the field, back to the classroom again. You do not know the full range of places where God is going to take you in the years to come. Make yourself available to places of service and receiving direction from mentors as you grow and mature as a disciple. God is equipping you for wondrous opportunities to do His work in the world at this time. Only the Spirit knows where you're headed next. Now, the student reflection is a commitment to mature and to learn. Now, some of us have a little gold star anxiety. I'll put it that way. I finished schooling when I was 42. It shows how slow of a learner I was. So from the age of 5 to 42, I was in school the whole time. The majority of the time was in full-time study, some of the time part-time. But from 5 to 42, I was in school. I came pretty good at reading teachers' evaluation of where I was performing, and I had gold star anxiety. If I couldn't get an A, I wasn't too terribly interested in participating. And you don't survive school that long without a little bit of gold star anxiety. The goal for the student reflection, however, is to move you out of gold star anxiety, I have to be the best, to I want to mature, I want to grow, I want to develop. So as such, you're going to reflect on your learning, and you're going to share this with your supervisor in the placement, and you're going to share it with your field experience director back at your Purpose Institute campus. So this reflection will be completed at the end of your service. You will take this to your meeting with your field experience supervisor. Now, this can be done on the same day that you've done the service. Let's say you're serving in an outreach program in the community and the supervisor doesn't really want to set up a new meeting. You could sit down, fill out your form, they could fill out their evaluation, and you could complete it right then. It doesn't have to be a number of days later. You could do it right then. So at the top, it's the typical biographical placement information, when you served, and under whom you served. And then each of these questions, 1 through 9, you are going to give the best answer you can. Notice the blocks are fairly small. You may do this digitally if you like. Digital forms of this form are available. You can type it in. If you're writing it, make sure it's legible. Give honest responses. Number 1, what did you learn about service during the placement? Serving. What did you learn about being a servant? God has sent us as servants. I know we speak a lot about leadership, but our leadership is service. Jesus came not to be master, but He came to serve, and He sends us as servants. So what did you learn? You could write about your view of people that you served. You could write about your identity as servant, or how your understanding of God developed as you served others. You might be serving alongside a group of people picking up trash on the interstate. They're doing it for community service as punishment from the court system. You might be doing it as a volunteer for the local police department, helping those folk. They are doing it because they have to. You're doing it because you get to serve. So what did you learn about serving with someone who's forced to serve? What did you learn about your role of service in that context, for instance? Number 2, describe how you grew spiritually during the placement. So how is God developing you spiritually? Here's a reality. We cannot grow spiritually only in the prayer room. Now, key spiritual formation is always going to be prayer, studying His Word, and perhaps fasting. But we are not going to grow spiritually unless we're serving others. We see this is Jesus' example of taking on the towel. He stoops down and washes the disciples' feet and sends them out to do so as well. We see this as he separates the sheep from the goats, the nations who are sheep nations, sheep groups, and goat groups. Sheep groups are groups that serve others in his name. For you to grow spiritually, you're going to have to be serving. If your spiritual growth is stymied, if you haven't felt God's presence for a while, it may not be that you need to worship more robustly in the Sunday worship service. It may be you need to get back out and serve somebody else in the name of Christ. So how are you growing spiritually? Number 3, in light of this field placement, how can you modify your short-term goals as stewardship choices to fulfill your calling and develop your spiritual gifts? So your stewardship choices, that is in terms of how you're using your time, your talents, and your resources. How might you need to change your time allocation? It could be you find out you need to learn some more stuff, so you're going to have to YouTube less, or Netflix less, or golf less, or whatever it might be that occupies your time. It could be that you need to use your finances more faithfully. You may need to buy a few less Starbucks coffees on your own so that you have more Starbucks coffee money to share with those with whom you are discipling or caring for in that placement. So stewardship, time, talents, resources. Number 4, there's 4 biblical principles from the current or previous semester of PI that apply to your field experience. So all of the learning that you're having, this is connecting your biblical principles to placement learning. So think back to your pastoral classes, your leadership classes, your biblical classes, your church history class, whatever that class you might have taken this semester or previous semesters, what biblical principles apply. Because if the Bible reading and study is not lived out daily, then you really did not read the Bible. Reading Scripture always goes into practice. Principle that we see from Proverbs. Number 5, identify some ministry strengths that you developed during that experience. Number 6, identify 2 ministry improvement goals for future service. What are some things you need to develop? All learning should reveal areas for future learning. All service should end with, what can I do better next time? Number 7, relate your degree agreement on 1 to 5. Number 1, strongly disagree. 5, strongly agree. I feel I possess the needed gifts or skills to effectively ministry in the placement. So if you feel like you have the resources to serve there, strongly agree, a 5. Or, yeah, I kind of think I did, a 4 or a 3, or boy, I wasn't really ready for this. That would be a 1. If given the opportunity, you would likely participate in that ministry experience again. It may not be for PI, but you really feel like you would engage in that children's ministry or that crisis hotline ministry, whatever it might be. Number 8, describe how you have grown in areas identified in question 7 from your last field experience student reflection form. So if this is your first time doing this process, you will not answer number 8. Future forms, you will go back to your previous experiences and look at number 7. They should be number 6, areas of improvement. Look back to areas of improvement. What areas did you improve, need improvement for the future? How did you build on that? So look back to your previous, see how you built on that. And number 9, you completed the work that was done in a timely manner. Yes, and if you did not, check no and explain why. When you complete this form, you will take it to the supervisor. Again, the supervisor could be in the church or it could be in the community. You will share your learning with them. They will share their evaluation with you. And you will take both of these forms to the field experience director on your campus, and they will have a conversation with you if there are questions they may have. They will celebrate. They will likely ask you to testify some of the things that you learned so other students can learn as well. Thank you again for serving in the field. You're NPI because the field is white for harvest. PI is not successful in you, and it's not successful in your local community unless you are working in the field. Thank you for your role as a student. Thank you for your role as a leader. And thank you for your role as a servant. Lord bless you.